right, welcome to Trust Factor. Tim, I freaking love our music. I think because of our mathematical equation of high touch plus high tech multiplied by high trust is like this. That music just hits to me like some high-end mathematicians in there working away at trying to figure it all out. And that's what we're doing here. We're trying to figure it all out. How you doing, Tim?
Man, I'm good. It's like the old numbers show, you see just numbers going on the board and just good things happening in life. It puts me in a good mood, man. And, music's important, by the way, music's important, but we're not here to talk about music, but that is Killer Show opener. And Mike, that's due to you, man. So, but I'm good. I'm excited for this one. In fact, I am so geeked out about this topic we're going to talk about because this is one of the biggest questions I get asked after speaking or when I'm coaching with a team is, how do I follow up? How do I follow up successfully? How do I follow up with more humanity? How do I, or how do I do it after the fourth touch? Because I don't know what to say anymore. Or, it's just, it's so much dysfunction in any space, but really when it comes into the real estate world, it's that they've ghosted me, they've gone crickets, or I closed with them and then I just don't know how to follow up. It's like, and I know you have all the statistics, Mike, but like, what are we going to talk about? Like, how are we going to frame all this today?
Well, I mean, from the relational side, follow-up is like, it's everything, right?
Yeah,
and it's actually the key differentiator between, I think, a very common misconception when I tell people that I work by referral. They're like, oh, you're word of mouth. No. Word of mouth is passive and is unintentional. I do a good job, and I'm hoping that someone is going to connect me later on.
Yep.
And most people fall into that trap, like, oh, that's what it is, and that's just how you do it. I have an intentional follow-up system, even after we get the lead, even after we close the lead, so that I have intentional results that lead to referrals that we intentionally generate, and specifically kind of reinforcing how our client base, how our advocates is like what we like to call them, how they actually recognize what's a good connection for us, and then they know exactly how to connect us. And then there's the whole nother kind of follow-up system that happens after that, and it just kind of keeps rolling and rolling and rolling. But yeah, it's super important to sales, right? We know that 80% of sales require 5 to 12 follow-up attempts, but yet 44% of agents quit after just one follow-up.
80% quit after 4, and only 10% go past 5.
Right. And so this is like just the story of the real estate professional in general. Like, they quit doing something right before it's about to work.
But and here's the thing, though. I think, and I think a lot of times it's not as much their fault as it is all of our problem. Is, I think we buy into some model, or we buy into somebody telling us, oh, we got this great marketing system. You join our brokerage, we got this great marketing system, we got this great thing. And so somehow we've bought into this system that I got to do this amount. And then I'm just going to put Mike Gandolfo's email address in this silo over here. And then all of my monthly updates powered by my great marketing team are going to go to Mike. Is that okay? You know what? If you've explained that to Mike, and Mike's good with that, and he's expecting that, because it's all communication is all about setting expectations. If he's expecting that and that's valuable to him, then do that. But I will promise you, even if Mike says, yes, you can send me that every month, and yes, it's valuable to me, after probably like the first one he gets, he's not even, he saw it. He's like, okay, I'm getting those. Even if he saw it, it might have went, but he's not, that's not follow-up. Just period. Like, get your brain out of that. That's not follow-up. That might help you be top of mind in some ways. There's some value there. But when we're talking about follow-up, why high touch doesn't work for most real estate agents is they don't have a follow-up system. You cannot be high touch without having a follow-up system. And I love the word you actually used, 2 words, Mike. You said intentionally, and you said specifically. So, and we could really go into follow up on so many, like if you're reaching out to a lead after you close, like, and during the transaction. We could talk about different categories, but why don't we just kind of start framing out the mindset of follow-up and how to be intentional and specific as you're building your follow-up system?
Yeah, and at the end of the day, for me, you have to in some ways think like a farmer and act like a hunter. And I
Mm,
love the idea, and this is the Brian Buffini thing, the law of the harvest and how it actually applies to what we do as a follow-up system. So, and Larry Kendall, who Ninja Selling, does a great job of kind of communicating this as well too, because he talks about, like, you have two components. You've got the auto flow. So these are the touches that you were just talking about that happen automatically without maybe you even have to think about it. And having 2 or 3 of those a month is really important, but they've got to come from different modalities, right? So maybe I'm hitting somebody with a piece of mail, and I'm hitting them with an email, and then maybe there's a text thing. So we, like, for example, and I guess I'm going to pitch all these things. Is that okay? Like, we actually we actually subscribe to the Buffini system that gives us a mailer and it gives us the monthly email, and then we do a text thing through a company called Lolo, which may or may not be in some of your markets because it's locals supporting locals, and they actually give our clients a coupon that they can go in and get some sort of
I
reward, like
love
a free whatever.
Mike, I have used Lolo for my real estate agent in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. We lived there 12 years. I've used Lolo one time.
Yeah.
He has sent it to me every month consistently. And it comes to a text.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, John sent you this. John and Tracy sent you this thing. And I don't even live there anymore. But you know how many Lolos I forwarded to my family and my friends that's still in Murfreesboro?
That's awesome, right?
I mean, it's very, very cool. Anyway, we're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pitching. We're not paid
We're not
spokespeople
sponsored by
for
Lolo,
Lolo.
but
Lolo.
but the key with that stuff
Yeah.
that's happening automatically is that it should be able to happen automatically, but it also has to, number one, it has to be something of value. Don't send
There
out the
you go.
chocolate cake
Yeah.
recipe. Okay. It's something that I could go to ChatGPT and say, I want to make the best chocolate cake ever. What's the recipe? Because I'm not saving that recipe card. It's got to be something of value that demonstrates your competence and your character. And if you're doing that on a regular basis, you're sprinkling the seeds as you will, then you can do the personal actions to water and fertilize that field and get an amazing harvest. And we do that with calls, text, meeting people for coffee and lunch, writing personal notes, because when someone gets an envelope, and I'm holding up for the people listening this little greeting card because I have the notes that I write. Tim, I've written you a note, I think, haven't I?
Yep.
Okay. And when you get these personal notes in the mail, it's not your birthday, not your anniversary, it's not the holidays. You're going to open this thing. And these things are magic, by the way, because what it does for me is I approach my day thinking I need to find 2 people that I'm going to express gratitude to. I'm going to and so I'm going through my day now, like, trying to look for reasons to be grateful.
Yep.
Right. And so it's as impactful on me as it is on the people who receive it, because there's tons of times we get a message back saying, hey, I got your note today and I really needed it.
Yep.
It's amazing.
You talk about follow up, high touch. This one, by the way, it's kind of funny. It was low, and we're like high. Anyway, so having a system, right? And you just described a system, and I heard something that was in there. You said a day. You said go approaching your day, writing 2. So you have a habit. You have something that your brain said, this is my habit, so that you now have what's called consistency. Because I like what the Slight Edge says. There's a quote I want to read. It says, consistency beats intensity every time. And here's what I know. Some people will be like, oh, it's holiday season, I need to write all these cards for all my database. And they'll make it through a quarter of their database, or half. And then it's like the holidays are here now and families coming in. And then it's just kind of like limp through the end of the year. Didn't really put a nice bow in their brain. Didn't really put a nice bow. Did their people really care? Probably not. But some of their people didn't get touched. And did they feel like they missed out on something? No, they didn't. No one woke up this morning and said, oh, Tim didn't write me a note today. Like, no. But if I did write that person a note today, it'd be like, oh man, Tim wrote me a note today. So how do you make sure, like, okay, this is going to work? Like, your follow-ups is going to work. Here's the key. What can you do consistently? Because Mike, you
Mm-hmm.
just said 2 notes a day. And some of us, we've not written a handwritten note in a long time, but could we take 1 note and could we put a stack on our desk and every morning just be like, or maybe in the evening, you think back through your day as you're reflecting and it's like you're journaling and you're writing 1 thank you note. And then you just put them in a stack. And then on Friday, you go mail that stack or whatever. And if you just did that consistently, it would be powerful. Jack Daly, a long time ago,
Look at that.
he taught me the
Got
money,
stamps in there and everything. You got it
the
all.
money bag, stamps, postcards. And I just go to Canva and I have my marketing team put together a nice little template. And you could go to Canva and do this so easily. I mean, I have some stock stuff. I like Children's Hospital sends me some nice little cards, because I donate. So they send me stuff. But this is my main one. It just says thank you. And then it has this ASOP, no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. So bam. And then on the back, like to deprioritize me, it's like faded out. So it's behind the address line. So I'm literally writing on top of myself for the address because I want all the space for them. But it's like, I'm grateful for you. And then I put something in there and then it has my signature already. So I don't have to sign it or anything. I just stamp it, put what I'm thankful for. And Mike, if you haven't got one of these from me, you'll get one of these from me. But
Well, have you gotten the one from Bob Berg yet?
Bob sent me a book.
Oh man, look at you! Like go ahead and start breeding. We go bragging right there.
No, but he's like, we got off a great conversation, and I'm like, this guy's the real deal, the go giver. And then in the mail comes like his
But what's
personal
the bookmark? Is that his personal note?
He's just going on about like I don't know. Is this his personal? No, this is a missionary.
No.
This is like
Because he's got his little note card, and he'll teach you exactly. I think in this referrals book that you have, he'll even tell you the size of the stationery to use.
There you go. Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean he goes into detail. And so like here's ours. Like it's got the little change agent with our mission on the front of it, right? And then and here, and you just mentioned that consistency quote, and right here's my consistency quote is that consistency is the most cost-effective and productive lead generation strategy, yet it's a price that few are willing to pay. And that is so true, because no matter what your lead generation system is, it's consistency, not intensity. And can you do it repeatedly? And I go back and to tie this all together, we talked about how most agents quit right before they're getting ready to see the results. And I love the analogy. We actually, in both of our offices, have old-fashioned water pumps. And you being a country boy, I'm sure you've used an old-fashioned water pump.
Oh yeah.
But
I dug the well.
The older I get,
the
older I get, the more that analogy starts to go away. But you have to come over there and you got to prime the pump, and you got to pump. And there is some intensity at the very beginning, right? And you don't know how close that water is to start coming out. But Tim, when that water starts to flow, but it's just slow and steady pressure, and it's going to give you everything you want. Now here's what most people in our business do. That water starts to flow, the first thing they do is take their hand off the pump and they go grab a bucket because they're afraid of missing something. The scarcity mindset pops in. You've got to approach this with a mindset of abundance. There's going to be some leads, and there's going to be some times that you're too busy maybe to serve all the leads that are coming, but you're giving yourself choice. And then the beautiful thing that happens as a realtor is that you can refer those other leads out and still get paid. Or if it's happening consistently, that's actually when you start a team. If you're consistently generating more leads than you can handle, that's the only reason you should start a team.
Boom. Dude, this is that dude. So, all right. I love the pump analogy, but I love how you just reframed it through abundance, because if you approach follow-up with a scarcity mentality, you're going to stress yourself out. And what I mean by that is this: you're going to overanalyze your follow-up. You're going to overanalyze and you're going to doubt yourself, and you're going to stop things before you ever let them really get in the ground. And what I mean by somebody said it like this: we take it as rejection when it's really a lack of awareness. We take it as rejection when it's really just a lack of awareness. And you'd mentioned intensity. I think there's consistency with intensity when you're lead generating, when you're first reaching out to somebody. And I don't mean intensity in a bad way. You need to go approach a lead through different mediums in a more frequent manner. And what I mean, but with the same message. So just to break this down very simply, if I reach out to Mike in an email, first time, very cold, because he reached out on my website and said something like, hey, I'm looking at this house over here or whatever. And I reach out back in an email or I send him a text. What I have to realize is I am one of 12. I'm one of 12. He's reached out to multiple players. Anybody moving is looking at different options. Everyone loves options. So there are 12 people, and probably only 4 of those are real estate agents. And then 8 of those are like all of your high tech companies out there. So you have your big box is hitting them with like 3 AI messages. And then you have like the Zillow agent. No offense to you Zillow agents, but I can't stand when you call me. It's not the real estate agent. It's like just Zillow agents and calling. And so you have 12 things happening and you're one of those 12. So in follow-up, when you're following up on a lead before you've ever built a relationship, this is where you're going to have to pump a little harder because you haven't heard the water. You haven't heard the gurgle yet. And it's not coming out. So you've got to, and I could talk about priming the pump. That's not today. Priming the pump is totally different. That's how you use customer testimonials. That's how you put a video out there first. Like send a little short intro video first before you even call to make a micro moment of trust. We'll talk about that later. But it just needs to be touch, but it needs to be different way. So send the email, then the text, hey, I just sent you an email. And then I'll be calling you, tomorrow morning. And then you call them tomorrow morning. Again, a little micro moment of trust, but you need to be a little bit more intentional with intensity when it first starts till you make connection happen. Once connection, that's the water flowing. Then what you have to ask yourself, the next category of follow-up is, do I have planned value once I've made connection with this person? Because if Mike says, yeah, man, I am looking at Lynchburg area, my daughter, I'm looking at some property down there. And you're like, okay, most agents are like, okay, so they ask the questions and then they go through, okay, what do I have? And it's like, I'm going to put you on this little list and I'm going to send you properties for like the Lynchburg area. Well, then I never get the list because it went to spam or it went to a promotions folder. And so now I think you don't do what you say, although you sent the list. So then you pretty much, the water's there, you made connection, but then you don't have good solid value. How about this? And Mike, I'm going to turn this over to you because your wheels are churning. I can see the smoke.
I got like 4 different things I want to do. So yeah.
What if instead of just the, hey, I'm going to put you on this like automated listings jet thing whenever they come out. What if you said something like, you thought about, okay, Mike's moving in from out of state. Hey, Mike, when are you visiting Lynchburg? Like, when are you come down here and look at stuff, whatever? He's like, okay, cool. Hey, man, I put together this little YouTube video. It's all 7 top places, like the Water Dog and other places you have to try when you're in here.
I've been to the Water Dog.
Okay, boom. So it's like, hey, 7 top places to eat. And Mike, you said you had kids and you're like, yep, you got kids. Okay, teenagers. Okay, teenagers would probably want these, but look, pay attention. But here, you could send this to your whole family and be like, hey, pick one. When we go to Lynchburg, we're eating somewhere, pick one. And you send the video. And Mike, do you mind if I text that over to you? And it's like, sure, here's my cell phone. So then you text it over to him. What's Mike doing? Probably forwarding, as you just planted a seed. Here, forwarding it had anything to do with real estate? Nope. It has everything to do with the Lynchburg area and that you're local and that you know and that you cared enough. And is that valuable at 100%? Could he go to Google? Yeah, but he's not from around here. And he could go to Google, but what if he doesn't watch the video? Does it still land? Yes, because people have to eat. People need to sleep. They need a roof over the head. So it's like, do you have some intentional value touches? And then the other thing that I find real estate agents and loan officers, we don't do well enough, and title folks, just spell out your process. Like you need to be clear. So it's like, hey, so here's what you're going to hear from me next. Here's how it works. Here's how it works best when I'm working with people like you. Here's what people usually tell me they like. However you frame that, but just tell them what you're going to be telling them so that they have clarity as you're reaching out. So anyway, intensity, planned intensity, and then the water starts flowing, and then am I valuable? I want to come back and circle back to what you said though about the abundance mindset. But Mike, I'm turning it to you because you got.
Yeah, so we might go a little long today. Just sorry, folks, but this is all good stuff. It's so good. And at the first thing that I just really heard you say is that you gave them, because whether you're working relationally or you're doing some sort of transactional business, you've got to give them, if it's a brand new lead, something to say yes to. Right? You've got to get them something Powerful. Where they want to come and they want to interact. So when everyone else is doing all this other kind of stuff and it's like, give me, you're giving value for them to accept and say yes to. And then now you're getting invited in where you can have this back and forth. And one of the things that I really like is that Larry Kendall and Ninja Selling teaches this system called 8 and 8, where you have 8. Now, we just said, when do sales happen, Tim? Which follow-up?
Between the 5th and 12th.
Yeah. So if you're doing the 8,
yeah,
you have got like these 8 steps actually kind of completely defined. And you know what? If you're working relationally, the 8 and 8 can be 8 touches in 8 weeks.
Yep.
If you're working transactionally, it might need to be 8 touches in 8 days, whatever it might be. But you've clearly defined and you've got it systemized so that you can go from one to the next to the next. And I think that's the key, is like leading off though with something that engages them and gets them to say yes. What's going to position you different than all that other noise out there? Because we also know that it's no longer speed to lead. We've talked about that before on this show. This is about who can have the first meaningful interaction and connection and conversation with that person on the other side. That's who's going to get the business. That's who's going to win. And then one other thing that I just want to get to real quick is, like, when you start flowing this and you've got really good auto flow that talks about this is what your competence is, this is what your character is, they know what you do. Now, when you're on the phone, I have 2 things that have happened to agents of mine that I just want to kind of focus on. One agent said, hey, I've been sending out the mailers whenever else. And I had one client who just said, it's becoming too much. Maybe it's, and so then they are like, well, maybe it's too much for all these people. And I was like, you cannot let one negative feedback. By the way, in 19 years of doing this stuff, I've only heard that one time.
Yeah.
If it's 97% effective, you can't let the 3% ineffective cause you to stop doing something.
Yep.
And then, then there's always the call reluctance, right? The people don't want to feel salesy on the phone. They don't want to be perceived as a pushy salesperson. And here's what I would say to that. Don't make sales calls. Make relationship building calls. Genuinely use the forward questions, ask questions. And by the way, the other point about that, be more interested than you are interesting. Ask questions, shut up and listen, and ask the next question. And you'll be amazed at how often you can ask about someone's family, about their work, about what they do for fun, or what their dreams or their next vacation or whatever else, how it can uncover an opportunity for you to serve them.
When I first, go ahead.
It's just be genuinely, authentically interested.
When I first really wrapped my head around that concept and started being very intentional with my, what I call IPQs, intentional power questions, it was actually painful because I would get on a call and not talk at all. I would ask a question and you'd be shocked how many people want to talk about themselves and their situation. They want to make sure you understand the full picture and the full framework. And so my first call with anybody, especially when you're talking to like a high D person who wants to make you pitch to them, they're like, so what do you got? They're looking at their watch. So what do you got? I'm like, well, help me understand. And I just flip it right back to a question. And then boom, everything melts and they just start talking. It's like, and I'm like, hey, we're up at time that I promised. Could we do a follow-up tomorrow morning? I'm going to get some things prepared based on what you said. Boom, boom, boom. And they're like, sure. They're taken aback. You didn't say anything. I was like, I'm not pitching. I'm not selling. I'm building a relationship, and I want it to be a relationship of value. So I have to find out things that you value. So until I've done that, and here's the thing, a couple of things. When there's 3 categories, it's new conversations, and then pipeline, and then long-term nurture. So intensity, new conversation, like Mike was saying, it might be 8 in 8 days, but they can't be, oh, I have this for you, and this for you, and this for you, and this for you, and this for you. It needs to be the same. Like we need to connect. Mike, we need to connect. You reached out on our website, we need to connect. By the way, here's a short little intro because I want to be kind and tell you I'm local and human and we need to connect. And Mike, I sent that over to your email. Did you get it? I would love to connect. So you're like, same message, just more intense. And then during the pipeline, value, value, value. And 3 things I would say, are you memorable? Did you create trust? Okay. And did you build momentum? So memorable is like value, like, wow, that's no one else did that. Trust is I did what I said I was going to do. We talked about that and we're going to continue to talk about it. Mm-hmm. And the momentum is you're in control of the sales conversation. Like you're sharing the buying journey. This is what typically happens. You're building momentum. Those 3 things. And then just coming back to the abundance piece, if you're doing that and someone doesn't stick with you, okay, it's abundant. Here's what I found, Mike. I'll do something, I'll follow up, or I'll send something valuable, and then for whatever reason, that person fell out of my pipeline. I didn't follow up. Or whatever. I lost somebody, or it was on me. Like, and no system's perfect, and so they will circle back later and be like, hey, I'm reaching back out. That thing you did was that meant so much. I've been hired to speak from a lead that I totally meant to follow up with. It was like an ancillary company or whatever. And she gave me a business card, and then I got back to the office and I just failed, whatever. But it was the moment that we created together was so valuable. They followed back up with you. So this mindset of abundance, I think for me, has freed me to listen. I have my systems and processes, but water's going to spill out of the bucket sometimes. So don't hold yourself to some standard that makes you shut down because it's like, oh, I can't do it. Like, do what you can consistently every day, and you are going to have an abundant harvest and just abundant mentality. So I love that you brought that up earlier. I wanted to circle back to.
You're always going to catch more things open-handed than you are going to close-handed, right? Like this, it's just the way it is. Always going to
say that one more time. You're going to catch more.
You're always going to catch more open-handed than you are closed-handed. I mean, that's the end of the day. That's what it is. And I just want to go back. You've mentioned it a couple of times, but the idea that as a professional, we're communicating our process is so important right now. And this is another piece, I think, that where a lot of agents, especially, I can't speak for the lenders and title people, but they're so afraid of like losing the lead because they're communicating the way that they do it and how the process works.
Yeah.
But it's exactly what the client wants. They're going through a stressful situation. They need someone to grab them by the hand and say, this is how we're going to do this. Yeah. And by the way, it's okay to say, because this is the truth, that most agents go about this the wrong way, but you're going to teach them how to do it the right way. And that is okay to say because we know it's true.
Yeah.
And just know the follow-up, the process, all this thing. Listen, if you listen to this episode and it didn't help you, I don't know if we're going to be able to help you. This is the episode you're going to want to save and listen to and go back to several times and take notes. And it's going to hit you different. This was incredible.
Yeah. People rarely forget the people who remember them.
That's right.
People rarely forget the people who remember them. And your follow-up system needs to be built to be helpful, be valuable, to remember them, to show up in their life consistently with value, and just be all about relationship. Listen, I hear this all the time. Well, these big box, okay, the big box is outside of your control. Mm-hmm. How in the last week, how often did you say I'm local? If you're not using the word local right now, you're missing the boat. How many did you? You need to start saying this? I'm real, and I'm local. Okay, I'm real because of the AI. Listen, real, local. Human. I help guide people. We'll talk in high trust later about how you use stories, because I think sometimes we're like, well, how do I share my process? Tell how you just did it. Hey, most of my clients prefer when I do this. Would that work? You want to paint that picture of you know what you're like. Hey, and we don't have to overthink it. Just clarity is kind. So anyway, follow up. You got to follow up. Be consistent with it.
I love it, man. I love it. I love you taking on the big boxes too. Listen to you. All right, man. I think we're going to need to wrap this one up. We did go a little long. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, we're here for you. Like, if this helped you, and I'm sure it did, please share this with another real estate professional who needs to hear this same message. And then do all the things, the subscribe, the reviews. We want to hear all of it. Tim. Yeah. We'll talk a little bit about our lives coming up. And in these show notes, by the way, will be the link for the live video.
Lives coming up. We're going to do these once a quarter, I believe, or once a month. What are we? We're doing these lives.
We're doing this one in 2 weeks, though.
In 2 weeks, we got one coming up in 2 weeks. We got a live coming up, guys. Join the link somewhere, right?
It's going to be in the show notes.
Yep. In the show notes. Links in the show notes. You just said that. That's right. Links in the show notes. Join us, right? Grab your coffee. It's going to be a Saturday morning, undistracted. Grab your journal, your notes, but think about some questions, some of the things that are your bottlenecks, things that you're facing, and bring those to the show. We're going to answer those live.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's going to be so much fun. So it's December 13th is that live.
There you go.
A live session with me and Tim, and we're looking forward to it. All right, Tim, we'll talk to you guys next time on Trust Factor.